Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Storyteller's Corner. I'm your host, Joshua T. Calkins Trubergy, also known as Byron of Sidious. I've done a couple of videos discussing the topic that I'm bringing to you today before, so this is just a revisit of the topic in question, which is the subject of fan fiction. A form or type, or rather subgenre of authorship, of narrative construction that I've indulged in a few times in the past and have been recently indulging in once again, sharing snippets of, and ultimately presenting the entirety of a fan fiction novel length story that I wrote some years back entitled Steel Nightmare, which is a Mega Man X fan fiction story, and presenting it in chapter by chapter format over on my X/Twitter account. You can follow me there at Joshua Trubergy. But I do, because of the shift that has recently occurred in my For You feed on X. I've seen more posts about writing and books and libraries and literacy and literature, including fan fiction, because I do occasionally indulge and discuss such things and follow and look around for people's posts on the subject. And just yesterday came across in my For You feed someone asking a question, or making an observation rather, and then posing a follow-up question based upon that observation from somebody who goes by Ren. Handle is at Byler Bridges on X/Twitter. I'll include that information down below. She indulges in quite a bit of discussion and observation on the subject of fan fiction as a fanfic creator herself. I'm going to recommend, if that is a subject that you find interest and enjoyment in, go ahead and give her a follow. But I had bookmarked a post that she put up. I should have taken a screen capture, because it would appear today when I went back to look for it, she had deleted the post. I'm not certain if she got a lot of heat, a lot of irritation or aggravation or aggression from people in the comments on that post. If so, it's really unfortunate. It's untoward. It's unnecessary. Really shouldn't have to dogpile on somebody just because they're posing a question based on an observation. That's just noticing reality for what it is. Noticing patterns or habits is not something that you should pound on somebody for. If they're just saying, hey, I've noticed this thing, and then posing a follow-up question in response to that, that's no reason to snarl or get nasty with somebody. But the central question, and again, I wish I had screen captured it instead of just bookmarking it, because the unfortunate thing is, if someone deletes the post, the bookmark obviously can't be accessed. You can't represent it. Thankfully, because I am old-fashioned, I write things down by pen on paper. That's the only reason I could recall the user's name in question. And I didn't write down verbatim her observation in question, but I jotted down a summary thereof. And so, in short, her observation was that she had noticed there had been quite a few folks on X/Twitter commenting on or putting up posts in regards to the subject of fan fiction, that a lot of folks don't want to engage in a fan fiction project, or a fic as it is shorthanded, unless the project is completed. And she was expressing her own enjoyment of the anticipation of the release of a new chapter or new material. This is the concept of delayed gratification, which a lot of folks who are younger than myself, younger than late stage Gen X or early year, the first couple of years of the millennial generation, a lot of folks struggle with the conceit of delayed gratification. They want what they want, and they want it now. In large part because we are such a go, 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 busy, busy, busy. Every moment of your waking life has to be focused on and engaged in high-end, high-yield productivity, rather than taking an opportunity to just sit and enjoy something, or to take the opportunity to sit in the quiet and contemplate what you have just partaken of. And this struck this Byler Bridges person as unfortunate. She's just questioning, like, why is it so many people are making this demand? And just a couple of brief notes before we get into a couple of my hypotheses regarding why that might be. First and foremost, let's take a look at what fan fiction is, just as a historical precedent. It used to be referred to as a pastiche. Pastiche is kind of the opposite side of the coin from parody, where parody utilizes a similar presentation of a concept or an intellectual property to poke fun at it, to make fun of and critique it. A pastiche is similar to parody in that it is the presentation of something similar to or directly related to a previously established intellectual property, but it is intended as homage or continuation or supplementation as opposed to insult or critique. The term fan fiction itself first came into common usage during the middle 20th century in about the 1950s and 1960s to distinguish between authorized derivative works, which were previously referred to as pastiches or supplementaries, and unauthorized derivative works, dubbed fan fiction. So that's just a small differentiation between the two to give you an idea that there is an actual, not hard, concrete differentiation, but there is a legal differentiation. I would just also like to take note, in terms of why I think, I'd like to posit a couple of reasons why she may be recognizing this pattern of behavior in people who engage in the fan fiction realm. Anime, manga, and video game fandoms have surged to dominate the fan fiction scene for quite some time. It began really this dominion over the realm of fan fiction in the late 1990s to the early 2000s. And really, their grasp on the arena of fanfic has not relented since then. And as a result, I thought, well, there could be a couple of different reasons why people don't want to engage with a fanfic project unless it's finished. One of those would be that these fan bases have become accustomed to regularly scheduled release formats of the source material. They would watch a series or read a manga as it was released, either monthly, bi-monthly, weekly. They got accustomed to having a set regular expectation of when the newest episode or installment of their particular fan source material was going to come out. So they became accustomed to that pattern. It formed a habit for them. Habits and routines, they become essential to maintain, particularly when you are deeply personally invested in it. Another possibility, and this one depends on a very source-specific variable, could be what I would refer to as repetition of disappointment. This one relies heavily on a single variable. The source material that the fandom or fan fiction project is based upon has either been indefinitely delayed or experienced long periods of we don't know when the heck the next thing is coming, or the source material was outright canceled and had already established a cult following. Fans who are deeply disappointed that this material, this series that they had taken a great enjoyment of, got cut off at the knees. That leaves these fandom folk who were enjoying that material. It leaves them with the concern that they now need to be terrified that this fan fiction project is also going to do the same thing. They're gonna get their hearts broken because the source material got canned, and now they're worried or wondering, hey, this thing that I grabbed onto because it is a continuation of something that I enjoyed that got unduly and untimely demise before, is that happening again? Like, am I handing my interest and my attention over to this thing that's just going to end up nosediving into the ground once more? And I think these are a couple of very valid and understandable reasons why people might want to say, no, I'm not going to engage in this fanfic project as a reader or as a viewer or what have you, unless I know it's actually complete. I want to be assured that if I'm going to commit my time and attention to this, that it's actually going to be finished. And we do see this in other fiction, in other literature especially. When we look at genre fiction, genre literature, fans of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire novels have been waiting for The Winds of Winter for how long? Okay? For freaking ever. And I mean, it wasn't the worst delay. We also had fans of Stephen King's The Dark Tower series who made their way through the first few books. When they got to the end of The Wastelands, there was an enormous gap of years between the publication and distribution of The Wastelands and Wizard and Glass. And a lot of people who were deeply invested in that series, they never got to see the continuation. But that was just a few notes to comment on this particular topic. I'd like to thank Byla Bridges once again for bringing the question to the public, even though it would appear that she removed the post in question. But if you are interested in the realm of fan fiction and you're on X/Twitter, I would say go ahead and give her a follow. She does indulge in fan fiction as a creator herself, and Lord knows everybody deserves an opportunity to present their creations if they actually have a passion for them. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I ask you to take care of yourselves, and ladies and gentlemen, as always, keep reading.